This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason, what do you got on tap for us tonight?
Well, tonight, isn't what I planned to talk about, but it's still something nonetheless, because Amazon's delivery system failed me in order to get Inside Mari here in time for me to talk about it, well, Marvel Unlimited still had all of Dan Slott's Fantastic Four run. It's like on tap for me to discuss. Now, regular readers will know that I was looking forward to this because after Slott's run on Amazing Spider-Man, which is arguably one of those generational defining runs, that the man wrote the character for 8 years and also managed to put his spin on a lot of significant spider events, and also just generally did a good job of just setting up expectations that ultimately swerved and confounded longtime fans like me. Or when we thought oh well, I can see where this is going. Oh wait, no, it's not going that direction. In fact, it's going somewhere else. That's what I liked about a lot of Slott's Amazing Spider-Man work, and it's why I was looking forward to seeing him, take on both Iron Man and Fantastic Four at the same time. Well, things didn't turn out quite as well as we had hoped with those series, because I've already talked about his run on Iron Man, which basically kind of petered out after the after 20 odd issues and a miniseries to wrap things up. But apparently Slott was more committed to his work on Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family, and just because apparently because whatever you can say about this his work in this series, it's not that he didn't have a lot of ideas about what to do with them. It's just that they didn't exactly result in it's any kind of newly defining stories for the characters, or the franchise as a whole. I mean, he does some interesting work on it, but overall it's it's still solid superhero stuff, and it starts off with with him getting the characters back into circulation, because at the start of his run, the Fantastic Four have been split up with Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm still in the Marvel universe, trying to be proper heroes, and Reed Richards, his wife Sue Storm, and their kids, Valeria and Franklin Richards, just trying to pick up after the end of Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars. Basically, they were just trying to do their best to rebuild the multiverse, and Slott's initial story basically has him picking up on that, with Franklin creating new universes, but it also kind of just writes off a lot of what Hickman had set up right there. Basically, with all of the new universes Franklin has created being destroyed by a new cosmic entity called the Griever at the end of all things. It's and also the revelation that Franklin's heretofore unlimited cosmic shaper powers being revealed to be a finite source that will eventually once he's exhausted them, will leave him just being a perfectly normal human. And the first arc is basically just all about establishing that, and also setting up part of what is the most fruitful subplot of Slott's run. That's the growing of the Grimm family, because not only does Ben Grimm finally propose to his longtime girlfriend, blind sculptress Alicia. They actually get married within the first within the first 6 issues, and yeah, their marriage is interrupted by by proclamation of Doctor Doom. But Reed's created some kind of chronal time island to prevent this from interrupting the proceedings, and allows the wedding to proceed as is. And then we get to them taking up with Doctor Doom again, because Doom has summoned Galactus to Earth, because he's got a plan for him. He's going to use Galactus as a power source to power the nation of Latveria. It's like, and basically make it into like the world power he's always like envisioned it being. Problem is that, well, like even though he's managed to capture like the Fantastic Four, like, well, like using Galactus as a power source, that's you think that, hey, maybe there's probably some problems there, and yeah, you'd be right, because even though the idea like using Galactus as a power source to power a nation like is a interesting idea, you all kind of know that this isn't something that's going to last. It's like you can see where this is going, and that's kind of true of a lot of what Slott does on this series. I mean, there are a lot of interesting like high concepts. Like I said, Doom like using Galactus as a power source for his nation. Then we get like a 2-issue fight between Thing and the Mortal Hulk, which isn't actually a fight between them because Hulk is being puppeted by the Puppet Master. And then after that, we get like a 5-issue arc called Point of Origin that basically like promises to put a new spin on the origin of the Fantastic Four, because Reed decides to like redo the it's like the space flight that gave the Fantastic Four their powers, just to see like to sort things out and see what would really happen. Like if they had been properly shielded against cosmic rays, and it takes them to this planet called Spire, which is just home to a group of superhumans they're also cosmically powered by them. It's like, and it's like it's one of those like utopian settings that is like, oh, this seems so nice, but what's really going on here? Because like, well, like the people, there's like you got the high town, like which people all with all the cool like human friendly superpowers, and you have the low town, which is like people have all been like made into like monsters by their exposure to cosmic rays, like Ben Grimm. And it's interesting, but it's kind of predictable, and ultimately it kind of feels like they're like Slott is like tacking on a bit of unnecessary scaffolding to the Fantastic Four's origin. I mean, explorers who like try to challenge the boundaries of human existence and get punished for it, but you ultimately use their abilities to like make things better, for humanity. It's like that's a solid enough set up right there. Like finding out that there's like some other forces behind it, doesn't really add a whole lot to it. And it's like, I mean, and then after that we get to the like Empire tie-in, which is like when the alien plant people, the Kotati, basically like tried to take over the universe. And while the main series was written by Al Ewing, Slott chipped in on the Fantastic Four centric issues of the crossover, as well as its the tie-in issues like in the series proper, which basically had like the old New Fantastic Four, which back in the 90s there was an arc called the New Fantastic Four, and basically had Wolverine, Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, and Hulk, some of the hottest Marvel characters at the time, taking over the Fantastic Four, for a couple months. This time, we get Spider-Man and Wolverine answering the call in the midst of the Kotati invasion, and as the plant-based priests of Pama, try to attack the surviving Richards family on Earth. It's not a bad tie-in, but one of the but the whole arc is basically notable for the fact that it introduces like two more key members to the Grimm family. It's like Jovel and it's like and M. Krill, the it's like two like a Kree and Skull children who basically have been empowered with the living histories of their respective races, and they basically been forced to fight, for the amusement of intergalactic spectators until they're freed by the Fantastic Four, and Ben decides to adopt them into his family, and basically try to basically give them normal kid lives, like apart from what their awful upbringing has imposed upon them. And Slott does a good job of mining them for some good fish out of water comedy as their militant minds. It's like do kind of like do mesh as awkwardly as you'd expect into Earth culture. It's like even though that they there's some good laughs to be had later on as they try to like exploit Earth cultures to their customs to their own ends as they use their abilities to like get as much Halloween candy as possible in one issue, and that's really kind of cute and amusing. And then there are other stories, such as the creation of the Forever Gate. It's like basically a device that allows everyone people to travel wherever they can. It's like wherever and whenever they're able to. It's like and also tie-ins to the to the King in Black event, which are nominal, like more than anything else, and also like other major storylines like the Bride of Doom, which is a 3-part storyline where Doom decides to marry his herald, Victorious, like in order to present a sort of strength to the to the world. Only problem is that Johnny Storm, winds up sleeping with Victorious in a moment of weakness after his proposed soulmate, Sky from Spire, it's part of the Point of Origin arc, because like there was a big deal made about how they were supposed to be soulmates, and even though it's like Slott like tries to do some work in terms like just positioning them as like actual like romantic interests, well, it doesn't work, and and Downey winds up sleeping with Doom's betrothed, and it goes badly, particularly when Victorious has to confess her indiscretion to Doom out of a dedication to like how's this going to look in front of the state. Doom is predictably infuriated by this, and he responds not just by trying to kill all the people all the people who are in attendance at the wedding, but also by turning Johnny Storm into like permanent flame on like status. Basically, he's no longer just a human torch; he's a human star who cannot like flame off anymore. And that what follows are like storyline storylines like Reed trying to like get help him deal with this, like a return to like the superhuman law fracas and humor of Slott's She-Hulk run, which is good fun, and also snuck in with all this is like a Fantastic Four like 60th issue 60th anniversary issue featuring art entirely by the great John Romita Jr., where 4 generations of Kang, basically Ramatut, Scarlet Centurion, Kang, Immortus, and 5 generations of Kang and his final form, Scion, try to find out the secret treasure of Nathaniel Richards, and this involves them trying to attack the Fantastic Four at 4 different eras of their of their history. It's like, and and I think that this is like it's a crazy time travel story, but it's one that actually makes sense and does like a good job of like setting of spotlighting the many history like what's worthwhile about each of these particular eras, and I really enjoyed it, and it's probably easily like the most enjoyable and surprising issue like of the run, even as it lets you know that, well, it turns out that Reed isn't Nathaniel's only offspring in this era. There's also another character there as well. But before I get to that, I have to get to the crux of Slott's run, which kicks off as part of it's so big it kicks off in an alpha issue called The Reckoning War. Now, Slott has basically been seeding this run in a lot of his other titles, specifically She-Hulk, for years now. Basically, like having characters like say like there shall come a reckoning, because this whole Reckoning War idea is something that he's been kicking around in his head for years, if not decades. Because basically, it's like the idea. I mean, it's basically set up in a fairly straightforward fashion, in the sense that all the alien races in the Marvel universe are getting powered up, like the Badoon and whatnot are getting like more powerful weapons, and they're told to just go and sow havoc throughout throughout the universe. Because it turns out that there's these other aliens, the Prosilicans, who who are just who are behind this, but they're now going by another name, the Reckoning. And as we find out quite early on, well, the reason this is such a big deal and why Slott has been chomping at the bit to tell the story for decades now, the Reckoning War is basically the story that springs out of the idea of what caused the Watchers to do their whole non-interference vow. Why the Watchers like Utao have basically said we're not going to interfere with the events of the actions of the Mario universe. We were just here to watch and observe them. So why are they doing this? What could have caused them to do such a to make this vow in the first place? Well, the Reckoning War is that story, and it's fine. I think it's all right. I mean, I'm not saying that the idea that Slott comes up with in terms of how why they took their non-interference vow was a bad one, but it's pretty easily explained. It's and even though there are a couple twists around it, it's I can't say that it's one for the ages, really. I mean, it's something that's basically kind of checks off a box saying, oh, okay, well, yeah, I get it. And I will say, even though he tries to make this a big galaxy spanning event, I can't say that it really gets that huge epic heft. I mean, it's still, I mean, on one hand, it keeps the stakes focused on the characters, but at the same time, it doesn't feel as sprawling as an epic as, say, Hickman's Infinity, or even John Tomasi's Sinestro Corpse War over at DC. I mean, it's definitely well constructed. It's plays out well, has some interesting twists, but it's basically just an epic, bit of continuity management for the Marvel universe. And I admit that one of the one shots that were attached to this, the Trial of the Watcher, which basically it's basically a what if about what if Utao the Watcher never interfered. It's kind of fun in the sense that it's basically Utao's worst nightmare, in the sense that he finds out that he basically screwed everything. He basically screwed everything up in that classic Fantastic Four story where he warned them about Galactus's approach on the Earth. That story itself is fun, but then you find out that that's not the whole story here. It turns out that it turns out that he was actually justified in the end, and in the end everything works out. I mean, even though there was this subplot about the Thing finding out that Reed Richards had done something so awful that that the Thing was going to want to have to kill him at some point. Well, even then it's kind of portrayed as not being that bad, or just a feint as well. And that's kind of what really my main issue with with Slott's run. I mean, I enjoyed reading this. I mean, okay, I was reading it for basically free on my Marvel Unlimited, or free for I'm paying for their it's for their annual subscription price, but at the same time reading all these issues that I hadn't already bought already in trade paperback form. It's likely probably paid for that. Paid for the subscription, but there wasn't though the kind of the swerves or playing against my expectations that I got from his Amazing Spider-Man run. It basically did a good job of serving up solid superhero action. Fantastic Four being grand explorers in the cosmic adventure sense, but never really delivering stories that kind of make me go, wow, didn't expect that. And also, it's probably worth mentioning that that the final issue, which basically deals with the half sister that Reed Richards has, thanks to his dad's exploits. Well, I mean, it's a nice idea, but at the same time, just to have this like tacked on at the end, kind of feels like disingenuous. It's like why bring up this idea like if you're not going to like to deal with it like in some way. I mean, like it's like his half sister calls him out for this. It's like over the like in the issue, and they say, well, there was like the matter of like saving the universe and all, but that's really no excuse. It's like it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, I get that you wanted to do this, but you needed to really commit to it. You needed to like actually involve this character in more stories, for just like getting back to her at the very end of your run. I mean, for all I know, it's like at this point now she's just going to be like I don't know, it's like cannon fodder for a future storyline. Maybe it'll just be they'll see like, oh hey, it's like Reed Richards has a half sister. Hey, maybe we can kill her off to motivate him to go really ham in a later storyline. That's the kind of fear I have here. And yeah, it's like there's like I can't fault Slott for trying to like add new stuff to the Fantastic Four canon, and he does some decent stuff there. But I think that the Grimm family is like really like the best the best stuff here. And I will say that if anyone tries to like get him divorced from Alicia, or like kill off his kids, it's like that's going to be like a real dick move. Like I want to see how the Grimm family goes forward from here. And as far as like Fantastic Four going forward from here, well, there were some like we're getting basically a 2-issue Judgment Day tie-in, which is basically like Die Hard in the Baxter Building featuring Sue Storm. Which I'll read that. But the man taking over the Fantastic Four after Slott is an interesting choice, and that's Ryan Brown. It's like who has done a lot of interesting. Sorry, right, not Ryan Brown. Ryan North. Sorry, who's given us Daily Dinosaur comics. It's like the the Midas Touch or the Midas Theorem. Dang it, can't remember, but it's a good 8-issue. It's like 8-issue miniseries from Boom. It's like and also the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl over at Marvel Comics. I've heard good things about what he's been doing like for these early issues, because he's basically like because Slott clearly went big and cosmic for his storylines. North is going like it's like is going smaller and more intimate, and I heard apparently that's supposed to be clicking pretty well with the audience. So I'll look forward to seeing how that turns up on it's like on Marvel Unlimited. That being said, hey, if you're looking for a solid superhero story, and you've got access to Marvel Unlimited, go ahead and check out Slott's run. It's like it's not bad, it's not great. I mean, if I'm gonna like tell you like a Fantastic Four series that you need to read, you're gonna like want to check out Hickman's run, which basically like benefits from the writers obsessive planning and the fact that he's basically telling one big story from beginning to end over the course of his run. Slott is telling a lot of different stories that kind of coalesce into something, but not really. But yeah, overall, Slott's run isn't bad, but I can't say it's something that I want to like go out and rebuy in physical form after having read it on Marvel Unlimited. In fact, because space is at a premium in my library, I'm probably going to put the copies I have of his run on the 2-cell pile. Not because I hate them, but I really need the room, and take that as you will. So not bad, but maybe not worth shelling out all money for 11 or 12 volumes of it. There you go.
All right. Well, do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Okay, well now that I have the 9th volume of Inside Marty, it's like in my hand, I'm actually going to be talking about that next time. And I guess after that, well, I guess I probably need to start talking about the best comics I read in 2022.
All right. We'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
All right, laters, everyone.